Weeds, the endless battle for every gardener. They steal nutrients, water and space from your plants and take over your beautiful beds. But what if I told you there's a way to stop them without endless hours of pulling them by hand?
Well, today we have the ultimate garden hack that will keep your beds looking tip-top and improve your soil's health.
We've all been there. You spend the whole afternoon in the garden weeding, you turn your back and they're already starting to grow back.
Weed seeds are everywhere, just waiting for the right conditions to grow. They need water, sunlight and space to sprout, which is why bare soil is like an open invitation for weeds.
Today we're going to tidy up this tired looking border in our garden and in the process show you how we're going to keep it weed free. It's an established border with lots of mature trees and shrubs, but it doesn't look like it's been attended to in quite a while.
It is a fairly shady area. We have some bulbs coming up at the moment because we're in spring. There's quite a few perennials coming up and we'll probably plant some more perennials over time. This year we'd like to plant some annuals, but first of all we need to clear those weeds.
Weeds are a problem in a border because not only do they look really ugly, but they also compete for the plants we do actually want for water, nutrients and sunlight.
Some weeds are difficult to remove due to their deep roots or persistent seeds, making ongoing weeding essential to stop them taking over.
Right, so we've been hard at work, we've been de-weeding this bed, we've got a wheelbarrow or 2 or 3 full of weeds. The question now is how do we stop these weeds from coming back? The answer is mulch.
Mulch? So what is mulch? Mulch prevents those pesky weed seeds from getting the sunlight they need to grow. And it acts as a protective barrier to stop new seeds from making contact with the soil and taking root. Mulches can be any type of covering that are spread across the surface of bare soil. They can be biodegradable like wood chips, straw, leaves or even compost, or they can be non-biodegradable like pebbles, gravel, slate or landscape fabric. These are long-lasting, but they won't bring the benefits that biodegradable mulches can offer. Although rubber mulches and plastic fabrics can be effective at stopping weeds, they should be avoided as they can leach harmful chemicals into your soil. Also, if you've ever tried to plant in a bed where there's a fabric layer, you'll know that it's a pain in the
For our beds and borders, we like to use wood or bark mulch. Not only is this an excellent weed suppressor, it also brings a ton of additional benefits. But there are a few things to watch out for, but we'll cover that in a little bit. So wood chips will cover the bare soil, and this will retain moisture by reducing evaporation. This will keep the soil damp for longer, reducing the need for frequent watering during hot weather. They also help in temperature regulation by keeping the soil cool in summer, by blocking direct sunlight and insulating plant roots in winter to protect them from frost. But that's not all, because over time the mulch will improve our soil's health as they break down, enriching the soil with nutrients, promoting beneficial microbes and enhancing soil structure for better plant growth.
We also like it because it tidies up the beds nicely, giving them a finished look and making the colours pop. We're applying our mulch in mid-spring, which is when the ground is beginning to warm up. If we apply our mulch earlier in the season, it could slow the ground warming up, which isn't good. Although spring is a great time to mulch, you can apply mulch any time between spring and autumn. In fact, late autumn is a fantastic time to mulch because it will provide frost protection for the soil and for your plants over winter.
We're aiming for about a 2-inch layer. This is ideal because it will block sunlight from getting to the soil and it will prevent weed seeds from germinating. Too thin and the weeds will just laugh at you and poke their heads up. Too thick though, and it may prevent water from penetrating the soil and your plants might dry out.
Something I've often wondered is how mulch stops weeds, but it doesn't stop bulbs growing or herbaceous perennials. Well, the reason is, in contrast to weeds, these established plants have strong, energy-filled shoots that can push through the layers of mulch to reach the light. Weeds don't have that much luck.
When adding mulch around trees and shrubs, you just want to avoid creating a mulch volcano around the base of the trunk. This will cause it to soften, which makes it more susceptible to rot and disease. Instead, spread the mulch in a donut shape around the tree, leaving a gap of about 2 or 3 inches between the mulch and the base. The key is to not have piles touching the base of the stem.
The next tip is crucial because if you don't do this, your soil health will suffer. If you want to plant in a new bed, you need to move the mulch aside and then you can dig a hole and plant as you usually would. Then we can push the mulch back around the plant and give it a good water.
It is important to avoid digging wood mulch into the soil as it is high in carbon but low in nitrogen. So the microorganisms deplete the nitrogen from the soil as they decompose the mulch, leaving less available to your plants. It will disturb the soil structure, potentially making it less aerated and really hindering root growth. It will also break down the mulch much more quickly, reducing its ability to retain moisture and requiring more frequent replenishment.
Yes, that's a point worth mentioning, Mr. Sheffield. If you're using a biodegradable mulch, you will need to top it up. Wood mulch is slow to break down, so you won't need to do it that often. About every couple of years to do the trick.
If you prefer raised beds to borders and growing veggies is more your bag, then we wouldn't use wood mulch at all. It's basically going to end up a bit of a mess. You'll be constantly having to move it and it will inevitably get dug in. We'd probably opt for compost instead because it won't matter if it gets dug into the soil. If you want to know how to prep your raised beds the right way, then make sure you watch this video next and we'll see you there.